So today we are going to learn about some uh, effects inside Adobe Illustrator plus the graphic style. So we will explore the creative uses of effects and graphic styles inside Adobe Illustrator. So there are a lot of different ways you can add effects inside Adobe Illustrator, and you can reuse one effect that you have created on other objects. So we will create some effects and then we will reuse those effects. Also, we will use the graphic styles, which is an option that helps you to reapply any effect that you have created on different parts, so that you don't have to keep on adding or repeating the same process all over again. So it helps you a lot. And apart from that, what else we will learn over here is the appearance panel, which is one of the most important panels inside Adobe Illustrator. Now, to get the appearance panel, you just have to go to your property windows over here. Okay, first you need to select any element inside your design on which you have to apply or you are thinking to apply an effect on. So once you will click on it, so the appearance panel will appear. Okay, now how do we start this? We start this by pressing any element or selecting any element like what I have selected right now. Now what I have to do, I have to go to my uh, property panel, and you will see there is an appearance panel here which is activated already. Now it will show you not all the options, it will just show you some you can say basic options of the appearance panel. But if you want to see all the options, you have to press this three dots over here. Once you will click on it, it will open another window in which you will see all the options. Here are the basic options, but once you click on these three dots, it will give you all the options. And next to it is the graphic style, which we will also study today in this class. Now let's dissect this appearance panel here. Now we have different parts over here. The first over here is basically selected artwork and thumbnail. This shows you the thumbnail of the selected artwork. As I have selected this gray box, it is showing me the thumbnail of that gray box. If I will select this logo, so it will show me that thumbnail of the logo. Or anything that you select from here, it will show you its properties and options over here. Okay. Now, apart from that, we have here these layers. Now, what are these layers? These are known as attribute row. So they are not layers as the same layers you see. Okay, it's not the same layers as these. It is basically known as rows. It's not known as layers. They are called rows. Okay, what rows? Attribute rows means options and properties of whatever you are selecting. The row regarding those properties and options of whatever is selected over here. Okay. Now here is a column which is visibility column. So here you can hide any one of the attributes. Like suppose if I will hide the fill attribute here, so it will hide the fill only and it will show me rest of the things. It will show me the drop shadow, it will show me the stroke, but it will hide the fill. So you can hide any one of these just to see how it will look like without these attributes. Okay, sometimes you want to see how it will look like without the shadow, so you can hide the shadow and then you can unhide it once you are done. So these attributes you can hide and unhide, totally up to you. After that, we have here the link to edit the effects option. These are the links basically. So you will see a dotted underline here. This is the link to that attribute or the option. If I will click this underline, this dotted underline, it will give me secondary options over here, which I can edit or I can modify them in later on. Now, down here, we have some other options. Now, this works exactly like the layers. Exactly like the layers means if I want to add a stroke, So I have to make sure which attribute of stroke I'm on. If I'm over here on this stroke, and if I will click on add new stroke, so it will add the new stroke above this stroke. If I am on the fill, and if I will add the new stroke, so it will add the new stroke above this fill and below this stroke. So you have to make sure if you want to add above on all these, so you have to be on the top row. If you want to add under this, you have to be below this row. So this is how you will create a new stroke or new fill, or you can add a new effect. So it depends on wherever you have pressed. Now rows are divided into different categories. This one is the stroke category. So whenever I will add any stroke, it will be always on the top area, in this area. It will never go below the opacity. It will never go below the fill. It will be always stay inside the row, either above this one or below this one. Same thing goes with the fill and effects. So they have their own categories over here. So fill will be always in the middle row panel, and the effects will be on the bottom, and the stroke will be on the top. Okay. Now let's go to the other parts over here. Let's see, here we have clear appearance. Clear appearance means if I have done something wrong and I don't like that appearance part, so I can press the clear appearance. So what it will do is that it will clear that appearance. Like suppose if I will go to the fill and press here clear appearance, so what it will do is that it will clear the whole thing. It will reset the whole thing. Okay. So let me undo that. Now here is basically duplicate selected item. Any attribute that you have selected can be duplicated. Suppose I want another fill with the same gray color and I want to duplicate this. So I will just select this attribute and press here, and it will duplicate that. Okay. Next is delete the selected item. Suppose this is selected and I don't want that. I have duplicate fill, like I have one here. I don't want two of them. I only want one of them. So I will select the one that I want to delete, and I will just press the delete button, and it will remove it from my attribute rows. So this is how you can delete the item. Next over here is the, you can say, indication icon over here. Now what is the indication icon? It only appears wherever you apply the effects. Drop shadow is an effect, so it shows you effects over here. That means if you will double click this, it will open this, or you can simply click here, the same thing. Okay, but what it is, it's basically, it indicates that there is an effect apply over here. Effects is basically like an indication icon, you can say. It will be not on opacity because opacity itself is not an effect. So I hope it is clear about the whole appearance advanced panel over here. Okay. Now let's start doing some like attributes, or creating some attributes over here, or you can say we can edit existing attributes. Let's start with this gray background here. Now here, the gray background, I don't need this to be a gray color. It's quite boring, not that attractive. Plus it have a stroke which is, I think, not necessary to have it on the screen, because it is quite dark, it's very thin, nobody will notice it. So instead of having a stroke, we can remove this stroke. So I can just click here the stroke color, go to swatches by clicking this arrow key. Okay, and if I want to remove it, I will simply go to none. As soon as I will press none, the stroke will be gone over here. Now fill is quite dark here. It's not too lively. It's not giving us very nice attraction, or it's not creating a good aesthetic over here, because color dark does not represent art itself. So what I can do here is that I can just press this color, click on this arrow, and I will choose some pre-made color over here that the artist already created, and I will see here there is a color he already created and named it background, which is this pink color. So I can select this pink color, and what it will do is that it will replace that gray color to this pink color very easily. Okay, so this is how you can edit colors inside here. Now, one thing here is that I don't want the drop shadow over here. So if I will hide the drop shadow, you can see how it will look like. It will look like this. So if you're satisfied, I'm satisfied, like I don't want the drop shadow. It looks better without the drop shadow. So what I can do is that I can hide and unhide to see. And once I hide it, I like this effect. So I think I don't want the drop shadow because it will be consuming memory of my computer. Also, plus it will increase the storage size of this file as well. So instead of only keeping it hidden, I will delete this whole attribute by selecting it and pressing the delete button. Now that attribute is gone for good now. So I don't need it anymore. Now, sometimes what happens is that you can add different fills, more than one fill. Right now, I have a pink fill color, background color. I can add another fill. Now, sometimes what happens, a student asks like, okay, you have created, we have a pink background over here, but if I will add another fill over here, suppose if I will click here, okay, and on the top row and press this new fill button, so it will create a new fill over here, which is above the stroke right now. Now, why did I added this fill if I already have the same fill? What is the use of it? If I will change its color to something else, then what it is doing is that it is covering this below fill. So what is the use of this fill if it is covering the whole thing? Why can't I just delete this fill and or just edit this fill? Why I'm adding a new fill over it? So what is the purpose over here? The purpose over here is that if you will go here, there are some, uh, you can see some pattern over here. Now these patterns are what? These patterns have no background. Okay, so if I will apply over here, it will just convert my fill into a pattern, but there is no background. That's why it is showing me this fill color. So for this purpose, you can easily oops, you can easily uh, apply some effects and you can do whatever you want. Now you can see that it creates a very nice effect over here. Okay, now I can just go back here, change the color that I want. Instead of pink, maybe I can use some other color here. Okay, maybe I can use this blue color or pink color. But as the fill have the pattern, it will stay as it is. So it will become more procedural. You can easily change any of your fill colors and it will not affect the pattern over it. So that's how it is very useful when to add. It helps quite a lot when you want to add more than one fill. Okay, so that's how you will get some good ideas over here, some good way you can add things. Okay, now let's move forward and work on text. So if I will select the text, you will get the same thing here. Now, if I double click the text and select the whole text, you can see it shows me what color it is using. Okay, now I can use the same color or I can change it, but I don't want to double click and select it and then start adding the color over here. What I want is that I want to select the whole box, okay, and then I will add a new fill over here. So now if I will add a new fill here, it will give me a black fill. Now what this black color did, it override the color that I was using here. Now as I have added the color on the box itself, so if you will double click and go inside the text itself, so you can make this fill none. Okay, so there will be no fill inside the text itself, but it will be applied on the text box. So this will help quite a lot because text box have more option rather than going inside, because inside you cannot add more options. You can see there is, I cannot add more strokes, I cannot add more fill. I can only have one stroke, one fill. That's all. Or maybe opacity I can change. Okay. And I can add a one effect only. So that's not quite handy, and you might not be able to do much more with it. So it's better to keep everything here outside the text and in the text box, because when you are applying the appearance on the text box itself, you will see you can add more stroke, more fill, and as many effects you want, you can add it. Okay, so I will close this options here so that it's more cleaner. Now let's add some more colors to it and more strokes to it. So I can go to the fill over here, and I can add, I can change its color to the one that was before. Okay, so I will have this one now. And apart from that, what I can do here is that I can add two different strokes over here. Now, one stroke that I want to add here is basically a normal stroke, okay, and another normal stroke over it. But before doing that, I will create another fill over it, and inside this fill I will choose this option, this pattern, which is gravel beach. As soon as I will click on it, it will give me something like this. Now if you think this is too harsh or too you can say strong for your design, so you can easily go inside the fill option, go to opacity, and you can change its opacity to lower. Maybe I will change its opacity to 50%, and you can see that the gravel beach pattern which I applied is now with a less opacity, 50. So it's quite, it creates a good stroke here. Okay, now what else I can do here is that let me go to the stroke, add a blue stroke to it, and then I can change its opacity, stroke weight to around 5. So let me zoom in. So you can see that I have created a stroke with the weight of 5. Now what I will do here is that I will create another stroke. Now this stroke is now created as it is. It's like I duplicated the stroke, because uh, Illustrator in the appearance panel, whatever you have used the last value, it is recorded. So whenever you create a new fill or a new stroke, it gives you the same last value that you were using. Okay. Now here, I don't want it to be a blue color. I want it to be white. And now it will replace the stroke value of this blue. Why? Because both of them have the same size, 5 weight, 5 weight. So underneath this white stroke, there is this blue stroke. But if I will start reducing its weight, so what will happen? This stroke will start becoming thinner, and this will stay as it is. So this will give you, so this option, this method will give you something like this kind of effect. Can you see that? As I'm reducing the weight of this white stroke, this stroke is starting to appear from behind. So this is a nice way of doing it and giving you a much more like creative look. Okay. Other thing what I can do here is that I can go to the stroke option, and I can choose different kind of stroke over here. I can have a round joint, I can have a chamfer, or I can have stroke inside or outside. Okay, but I will keep it as it is here. Same thing I can do in this one. I can choose a round joint instead of a square. So really nicely I have created two strokes on at one object. Okay, so this is a nice way to apply, a creative way to apply any kind of effect over here. Now what else we can do here is that we can add more effects to it or more other things to it. Now, if I will, these are, as I told you before, these are actually dependent on the row attributes position. So as these are stacked, so this is on the top, so that's why it's appearing on the top. Okay, if I will move it down under this stroke, the blue stroke, it won't appear because it was thinner and this was thicker. So 5 point is more heavier. That's why it is covering the 2 point stroke. Okay, which actually I don't want, so I will keep it on top of it. Same thing is with this. If I will take this fill and drag it below this one, it won't show because it is now covering, uh, it's now covered by this heavy yellow stroke. So I will just move it back to where it was. So this is how you can add a lot of different kind of like you can say uh, like strokes here, fills here to create a nice looking like a font or any other thing, like any other you can say artwork. Okay, now let's check the effects menu over here. Let's see how we can apply an effect menu here. Okay, and how we can create some effect. Okay, now I have this brush. I can just click on the brush and you can see nothing is applied over here. There are different uh, elements that are joined together to create this brush. So if I will double click it here, you can see that there are different parts that are actually joined together to create this whole brush, and each uh, one of them have different fill information. Okay, but outside, if I will go, they all are grouped. Okay, so they all are grouped. I can ungroup them, but I will keep it as it is because I want to apply a drop shadow effect on this whole brush. So what I will do here is that I will just click on this group, go to the effects, and here I will go to the stylize in Illustrator effects, basically stylize, and I will click on drop shadow. As I will click on drop shadow, it will give me the drop shadow option, and I can choose whatever option I want. I will keep the opacity a little lower, like not 80%. I want to keep it 50%. Offset, the X value, I want not to be at this stage. I want to do it a little bit away. So I will make it 1.4 inches. Okay, so in order so with that it will just push, it will be pushed to this right side. Same thing, I want to push it more downward, so I will, in the y-axis, I will also write 4in, so it will go much more below. Okay, okay, and then if you think this is not too blurry and you want more blur like shadow, so you can also increase the blur amount here. So maybe I will use 0.21. Okay, so now I have all this all these settings and I'm quite satisfied with this, so I will press OK. This is how you can apply the effect on the whole brush or any element or a group itself. Now it's here. I can change this, and if you think this is not strong, so what you can do is that you can duplicate this effect by selecting and clicking here. So it will double up this effect, and you can see that this effect got double up. Okay, and if you think, okay, I don't want this, so you can select on it, any one of it, and you can delete that. So this is how you can add effects inside your Illustrator using the appearance panel. Now let's apply the similar effect to this art show. I'll click here. Okay, click on the type here, go to effects, and then I will go to the stylize, and I will use the drop shadow here. And once I will get this option, I will choose my settings over here. The opacity, this time I want it to be quite less visible, so 10 is enough because I just want a little touch to it. Okay, Blur, I want it to be very less blur. I want it to be more solid. So I will use here 0.03 inches here. It will become a little bit more solid. You can see that it kind of look solid over here. So if I will press OK and zoom in, you can see that it's a little bit more solid than it was before. Okay. Now I have my artwork with the opacity ready. Now, one more thing I can do here is that I can go to the type and add one more effect over here, which is known as the warp effect. So I will go to the warp effect here and I will choose effect which is called rise. As soon as I will select it, it will give me a rise. You can see this icon, something this kind of flow on my text. So I can control these values here. I can bend it more or less or whatever like bending you can say you want. I will let me change it to 15 to bend it more, and rest I will keep it as it is, and I can press OK. So you can see that I have this effect here. And if uh, later on you want to apply any effect or change to it, but this warp is annoying you, so what you can do is that you can hide it, do the changes you want, and once you are done, you can unhide it. Okay, so this is how you can change your uh, or you can temporarily hide or unhide any one of your effects here. Okay, and then I can press here on the warp tool again, and if I want to change it, suppose I don't want it to be 15, I want it to be 11, I can press OK, so it will move back to it. Okay, so this is how you can do it, but I don't want that. I will just keep it to 15 as it is. I don't want to change it. Now if I want to apply some other effects, suppose on this banner, I can go to the banner now, and what I can do here is that there are a lot of different effects. You can go in the effects, you will see a lot of effects, and in your free time you can check all of them and see what different effects shows you and how it changes the appearance of your work. So if I will go here, you will see here there is a effect here called path. Now path will give you offset, outline object, outline stroke. Now it is only applicable on paths like this one. This is a path basically. So I'm applying on this path, and I want you to use the option over here, the effect over here, which is called offset. Now what does the offset do? If I will click on the offset, it will take my current path over here and start offsetting, means like it will start pushing it outwards or inwards according to my settings. So if I will write here negative value, like suppose minus 0.13, so it will offset it at the at negative points. So this is how an offset can help you. Now if I will press OK here, and I will reduce the stroke here, not too high or not too low, so you can see that it is dependent on the stroke itself. And one more thing is that if I will move the stroke on the top or move the offset anywhere else like below, so it is dependent on the layer as well. Okay, so I have applied this stroke over here, and I can apply another stroke. Maybe suppose if I want to apply a white stroke, I can add a new stroke here. I'll just select the path, because if you will select the toppest one, it will create a new layer on the top. So I want to create on the top a new stroke. So I'll just click on the stroke and change it to white. Okay, and I will have this, but I don't want it to be thicker just like the previous one, and I will make it thinner just as this. And what else I can do here is that I can do vice versa, means like this one I can keep it 10. Okay, then drag it down and this one I can reduce its stroke value. So the effect will be something like this. So you can do any one of these uh, number of ways. Okay, so I will have now this stroke offsetted, okay, and this one as it is. So whatever is underneath will be offsetted, and whatever is so exactly whatever is underneath the offset value will be offset. Okay, if I will hide this offset, so you will see both of them is now uh, like both of them have become you can say larger again because offset is hidden. If I will unhide it again, you can see both of them are now affected. So whatever is underneath your offset will be affected. Okay. Now let's go and see what else we can do with our effect. And let's select this text here. Now there is a very interesting effect here which I really like, and that is known as the uh, effect which is called basically you can say transform effect, duplication effect. So if I will select my stroke here and I want to apply that effect on this stroke, so what I will do, I will select the stroke, go to add new effect, then I will go to the transform option or distort and transform, and here I have different options here. The one that I want to use over here is basically the transformation option. Okay, so I will click on transform and it will give me this. Now if I will go here and type 10, so this stroke that I selected, the blue one, it will make 10 copies of it. Okay, but what I want to do with these 10 copies, I want these 10 copies to be offsetted to around 0.013 on x-axis, and you will see that it is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 copies have been offsetted on the x-axis. Now similarly, same thing I want to do on the y-axis, so I will type here 0.013 and it will be offsetted on the y-axis as well, so it's coming down. So what are these? These are basically the 10 copies. Suppose if I will reduce it to 3, so you will see that it will become shorter. If I will increase it, you will see it will become more thicker, but I want to keep it 10. Okay, so this is how you can create copies and make this kind of effect. Now I can pull this down, put it under the fill. So the fill will be, you can see it will be on the top of this stroke. So you can also change its position the way you want to be the position. If you want to change, maybe drop shadow, I want to change it to maybe not 10, maybe to 20. So I can also do that by clicking that opacity here to change the opacity. So a number of different ways you can do it. Okay, and this is how nicely you can apply text effect on it. So you can see from this like a very normal effect to this effect how we came through it. So appearance helps you a lot. It have a lot of great options here to do, and you have to use your creativity, your own creativity, how you can use them. But first you should know about each effect, how effects looks like. So at your free time, open up your effects panel and try to apply different effects over here, and then write it down what you can do with this effect, because sometimes you can you should know that what effect will like what kind of effect you will be getting out of it, so it will help you a lot in future. Okay, so if you know this effect will do this, so you can figure out yourself what will be the result and where you can use it creatively. Now apart from Illustrator effects, apart from Illustrator effect, inside Adobe Illustrator there are Photoshop effects also. For example, if I want to apply a Photoshop effect on this brush, I can select the brush, go to effects, and you can see there are Photoshop effects underneath as well. So if I can, if I want to apply an effect, like suppose I can go to brush strokes, and inside that I have here sprayed stroke. So maybe I want to apply a sprayed stroke effect on this brush. So I can just press here. It will open another window for me, which is basically a Photoshop effect. Okay, and here I can I will have four main parts here. Okay, what are these four main parts? The four main parts over here is uh, like effect area, which will show you what effects will be there. Okay, which is the preview area. It will show you the whole preview of whatever effect you are applying here. Okay, then you have here this area which is basically setting for the current selected effect. Then here we have this area which is basically the list of effects applied. And then bottom we have if you want to apply a different effect, more than one effect, just like you do in appearance. So you can apply here, you can make new, delete, so whatever you want. But I want to only apply one sprayed stroke here. I will select this one. I will do some changes here. The length is basically, I think, too short. I will make longer length, so I will make it 20. Spray radius is little small, so little less, so I will increase it to 25. So you can see how the effect has changed, and I will keep it direction vertical. And once I will press it OK, you will see that effect is applied already here. Now if I will zoom in, so you can see that it is not too pixelated. It's not pixelated, but it have uh, a pixelation style. Basically what it is doing, it is converting the raster into vector, basically, because Photoshop effects are basically raster effects, but it will stay vector. It will not convert it into a raster, but what it will do is that it will convert the raster into vector, so you are on the safe side usually. Now there are like an option here which is known as the graphic style. So let me deselect everything here. Okay, and go to window, and here I have an option here, a panel here which is called graphic style. Okay, and here you can see the graphic style is here as well. So if you click on it, you will be on the graphic style. Now what does the graphic style do? It have pre-made styles which you can apply anywhere you want. Like suppose if you see this art show, okay, so this art show that we created through the appearance panel, we created what? We created a graphic style. So it's a nice looking style. If I like this one, I can click on it, drag it in the graphic style panel, and it will be there. So if I want to reapply on any other object, like suppose if I will go down, I have this University Studio text. If I will select this and click on it, so it will apply this all over here. Okay, or any other object, like suppose this one, I can apply on this one as well, and you can see that it has nicely applied the way it was applied here. Okay, so this is a good way of doing like anything that you want, and then convert them into graphic style, and then you can reuse them as many times you want. So that's the power of the graphic style here. Now there are some pre-made graphic styles which comes quite handy with Illustrator. You can apply anywhere you want. So let's apply some on this one. So I will go here, make sure everything is deselected. I will click here, and there is a one on the library, and there is one category here of the graphic style which is known as the Illuminate style. So if I will go here, you will see there are a lot of different kind of nice illumination styles here. So first of these are basically Aluminium styles here. So if I will click on this element, click on the Aluminium style one here, so it will apply a basic Aluminium style like sort of a effect here, which you can use anywhere you want on any other thing, but it suits over here because this is what we were supposed to create as an Aluminium. So this is how you can apply different kind of art, the graphic style. And once you will apply, it will go inside your panel and you can reuse it as many times. Now, I like this banner style, but I want to apply it on this one. So I can select this one, then click and drag over here inside my graphic style panel, and it will be there. Now I can select the bottom panel, the bottom banner, and click on this style, graphic style, which I just dragged in, and it will automatically apply the same thing on it. So a shortcut. So as I said, it is very like a useful panel. The graphic style, it helps you a lot if you want to create more effects and you want to reuse those effects. Okay, and these styles are changeable. Suppose this is art show. I don't want it to be art show. I want it to be called maybe art fest. So I can double click over here. I can select this show. You can hide this effect if it is annoying you from the if I will select here and go to the appearance panel here. If I want to hide it, I can hide that. Then I can change it to whatever I want. Okay, and then I can select it back and unhide this. So this is also, you can do it. Okay, and as I change it, you can see it does not look that good because it's not balanced anymore. So I can go to the warp rise. I can change it to from 15 to 11 maybe. Okay, and press OK, and it will change it to that part. Okay, oops, I have to select this one. I forgot to select. So you make sure you select it and then press OK. Now you can see it is balanced again. And if you want, you can move it down a bit so that it will be more balanced. So it's all procedural. Easily it can be applied, easily it can be changed. So many things you can do. You can edit them. You can go to the graphic style. You can edit any one of these if you want. So let me deselect everything, and if I will if I want to edit this one, I can simply edit it by pressing Alt on my keyboard. Okay, and clicking on it, or right clicking, I think there's one option here. Okay, yeah, I don't think it will change from here, but what you have to do is that the main you have to change from the appearance, and automatically it will change here. That's what it can do here. Okay, so as many effects you want to apply, reapply, you can do with this. Now, one more important thing here is, let me go back to my appearance. If I click over here and I want to make this logo small, so there is a problem here that you will face. By default, you will see here it says in the transform panel, you have to go to the window, then you have to go to transform. Okay, so once you are in the transform, it will give you this transform menu over here. Okay, so it by default your scale corners and scale strokes and effects are unchecked. So if you will reduce the size of any one of artboard, you will see that it will not scale the corners of your artwork and the stroke. So it will look like this, which actually you don't want. So what you can do here is that you can select it, click on both of them, and then if you will start scaling it up, so the stroke will also get scaled with the size of your logo. So this is really something important that you have to keep in mind when you're working on. Usually for this, I don't need the scale corners, but for the safe side, I just turned it on. Otherwise, scale strokes and effects will be enough. Okay. So this is all about creating or adding effects inside your Illustrator and creatively using them, and you can reuse effects. You can make some advanced or like effects out of it. Creatively you can use it. Think about the possibilities that you can do with these kinds of effects. Okay, so that's all for the today's class. If anyone have the question, please let me know. Is everything okay? Anyone who have questions regarding this exercise that we have done today? Is it all clear? Okay, so as you don't have any question, uh, I'll will stop the stream now and we'll continue in the next class.